Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to our second Harmony and Health presentation. My name is Cassandra Mulcahy. I'm the certified and licensed music therapist here. And today we have a really beautiful evening of tea information and experiences ahead of us. To begin with, we're starting with Lisa. Yes, she is our dietitian here. And she's going to talk to us about some science and some remedies for cancer treatment using tea. And she has such a beautiful presentation. So without further ado, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Come and join us.
So as Cassandra said, I'm Lisa Kuntz. I'm the dietitian here at Smilo and Crumble. And I'm just I only have a few slides, but first we just want to talk about tea. What is tea? Yeah. So it can be cold, it can be warm, change. But as a purist, tea really only comes from tea leaves, the tea plant that you see right here. And the correct name, and I'm probably going to butcher it, is Similia senecis. So if you're a purist, tea only comes from this leaf. But we all think of tea, and half of us are drinking herbal teas, plant teas, cinnamon teas, mint, chamomile. Those would be considered to non-purists, not really a tea. It's a so that's and that's what the plant looks like. And that's, of course, you see the live one here. So when you are purchasing your tea, if you want to make sure that it's pure, you want to read your labels. As a dietitian, I always love to say that. Make sure that the tea says black tea, white tea, green tea, that it has tea in it. Otherwise, then it's not a tea. Per the purist, This one actually is a mint tea, but if you turn it over, it says mint and it says black tea, so it's a combo. So as I said, when you're talking about the pure tea, there's different variations. David brought some pu'er tea, which is on the higher end over here. So basically it's about, when you make your tea, how you're oxidizing and fermenting. On the other side, it's lower oxidized, and this side is higher fermented. And I think some of them are a little bit twisted on this picture, because I believe the green should actually be the furthest one on that end in terms of oxidation. So I'm going to kind of focus on, again, right now, just the pure tea, things that come from the pure tea leaf. And the thing about tea leaves is that they have phytochemicals, specifically called the catechin category. And catechins are a type of polyphenol. If anyone did organic chemistry, the reason why they call it a polyphenol is because these little rings, poly meaning more than one, phenol meaning that's the type of, and anytime it's a six-ringed organic structure, it's a phenol. So polyphenol meaning more than one. So tea has a high concentration of these polyphenols. In specifically green tea, there's several different types of catechins within. There's the epicatechin, the epicatechin gallate, and then the epicatechin gallate, which is the one that they usually focus on a lot. And like when you find in research studies, they're always like pointing out that chemical, which is found in high proportions, specifically in the green tea. Partially because the green tea is not fermented as much, they had more of the EGCG. Than the other. So a lot of studies you'll find out, they're always like, green tea's magic. The other ones are great too. They have other, and I didn't get into the deeper, what do they have chemically? They're all great, but green tea is kind of the one that's touted to have the most of these. And then there are so many research studies that talk about, is tea, helpful? What is it helpful for? I just listed a couple of the studies saying that yes, tea can be protective because of these antioxidants that it's full of. But they always say can be. That's not associated with, because you can never ever pull out that specifically. So a variety of different cancers, but also green tea is great for weight management, blood sugar control. So a lot of it's a good thing to add to your repertoire.
It's a lot of information up there. I'm
It
taking in all of
is.
the
I know. I
cancer
try to
types
keep.
that it can have. Yeah.
For almost every kind of cancer. Almost.
And again, I only pulled out 3. There's other ones that will say this is, so. And then David will probably go a little further in detail. Now I'm switching over to the herbal teas because those are a lot of the ones that have the different types of benefits for different cancer problems. Nausea is kind of the one, immune boosting. So chamomile, cinnamon, echinacea, fennel, ginger, ginseng, milk, thistle, peppermint, and slippery elm are the ones that I kind of highlighted in terms of ones I feel like have the most benefits for the different common things that go on. A lot of teas. What was the tea we were just talking about that I liked that had the slippery elm in?
Oh, throat coat tea.
So throat coat tea, if you ever.
It's amazing tea.
So if you have a sore throat, but guess what? We have a lot of patients here who have had neck cancer, so that can help like soothe the throat on that. I think a lot of these people are already pretty familiar with the chamomiles, the gingers, and so forth.
And many of my music therapy colleagues, we all carry around that slippery elm with the throat coat. I have some.
Okay,
in the
good.
office
See,
and- yeah.
so it works for keeping
keep
your
it-
vocal cords
keep it
good.
right.
Because you sing.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And then steeping times can vary by the type. If you're a purist, you're gonna want to pick out like the right steeping time, how long and how hot you want it to be to get just the right amounts of the benefits coming out, the oils coming out. But just to be mindful once you've steeped your tea, especially if you're doing it at these super high temperatures, to make sure it cools down to 150 degrees because there are some studies that if it's too hot, you can, cause esophageal cancer, and that's not what we want while we're here. Yes. So make sure when you are having your tea that it's not too hot.
How do you pronounce the one with the P? Puer?
Puer?
Tea?
Is that correct? Puer?
That's just, yeah.
Okay. That's what we're going with today.
I'm interested in that one.
It's like kitchery or kachari. Has anybody ever made that? Oh, it's a wonderful Indian dish, but some people call it kitchery, some people call it kachari. And so,
Yeah.
anyways.
What happens if you oversteep it or steep it too?
It probably gets too strong. Like so an Earl Grey, I don't want to steep it. For me personally, it gets too strong.
Okay.
So you can always steep it to your liking.
Yeah. Or if the temperature is too high, you burn the leaves.
Ooh, that I don't know. What do you?
Bitter.
Gets too
It's
bitter.
too bitter.
Yeah.
Maybe that's why I don't like when I oversteep the Earl Grey. So same thing. Yeah, it gets overdoes. No question.
Green tea makes me kind of nauseous if I cook it too hot too.
And then I just wanted to end with a nice poem that I found from one of the books when I was doing my research. And that's kind of the end of my.
Will you read that?
You
to
want me to
us?
read it?
Yeah.
Let us have tea, let us have galaxies, let us have earthworms, let us have sorrow and tenderness, and let us pour and receive the bottomless mercy that life has for us in our foolishness, our failures, and our most secret longings. In return, let us forgive the world for being the world. Let us allow all things to be forgiven, to be blessed just for a moment, just for the duration of a cup of tea. I thought that was lovely because probably we'll talk about the ritual of tea, slowing us down, making us mindful. So it has benefits beyond the potential cancer fighting and phytochemicals and everything. Scientifically, it has some other wonderful benefits in terms of how we make it and how we sit for that ritual.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. And that is a lovely introduction to Julie. Julie is our Qigong and Tai Chi teacher, but she has many meditative talents, and she will share with us a tea ritual tonight.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
So I really appreciate you coming. And I've never done this before. I've never done a tea ceremony in public. So I'm kind of venturing into unknown territory here, but I I really savor the opportunity to share what making tea, why it quiets our nervous system, and why it really anchors us in the present moment. Because when we make tea, we are really intentionally disconnecting from the past. The future is just the future. If we are 100% in the moment of making tea, we forgive ourselves, we have less regret, we have less fear, and we enjoy the essence of making a cup of tea. So as Thich Nhat Hanh, one of my favorite teachers would say, when we're drinking tea, we're just aware that we're drinking tea, and that's it. It's super, super simple. So when you're making tea and you want to make it more of a sort of ceremony, it doesn't have to be daily. You could do a tea ceremony in Starbucks, right? You could just slow down a little bit, hold the cup, smell the tea, taste the tea, and really savor the experience. Very different than coffee. I like coffee too, but it's a totally different intention when we're drinking tea. So I just brought a couple things from my house, and one is a tray, which can be any type of tray. It kind of creates a setting. And then I brought a napkin my daughter Charlotte gave me, and I'm gonna put it there. And then I'm gonna think about kind of creating a space for my tea. So I picked some marigolds, and I'm gonna put that on my table. Again, these are just ideas. Maybe I have some candles. I brought 3. 3 is an important number in Qigong. It represents your body, your mind, and your spirit. So I'm gonna do my best to light these candles. And as I'm lighting them, I invite you to slow down your breathing. So you don't even need to look at me necessarily. You can just either gaze out the window at the sky and the trees, or you can just look inside and just start to regulate why you showed up. A long, slow, even, gentle breath in through your nose, and a longer, slower, deeper breath out through your open mouth, maybe with the sound of let yourself arrive, and remind yourself that you're here to be 100% present. We're not going to be 5% present or 20% present. Let's set the intention of 100% presence. Another thing you might use in your tea ceremony is to clear your space energetically with some Palo Santo or sage or incense. And I'm not going to burn this long because I don't know if anyone's sensitive, but this is Palo Santo, and you let it burn at the tip, blow it out, and I'm just going to sort of clear actually this whole space. And I really love the smell of Palo Santo. Okay. Then I'm going to get my cup, which I have these little cups. I think they're actually designed for sake, but you can also use them for tea. And I'm going to pass some around. I don't have enough for everyone, but there's something about holding, and you have cups there too, so you can definitely use those cups. But there's something about holding a cup in your hands. And I'll just sort of go from, if you don't get a cup, please use your actual cup, and I'll pass around some additional cups that are empty, and these are just little ones. So we're gonna taste our tea. Give you an empty cup. And the tea that I'm going to make, that we're going to make together, is flower essence. It's actually not the way Lisa was talking about. It's not from a plant. Well, I guess it kind of is from a plant. It's rose petals. And rose petals, they are anti-inflammatory, they're very calming, they look gorgeous. And so there's just something nice about the rose petal tea. Okay, my space is looking good. I need a teapot. And I chose a glass one so that you can see the tea brewing. I don't have a lid on it. And the first part of the ceremony is to take hot water and you fill up your teapot. It doesn't have to be full, but you're going to rinse it. And you would actually do the same. I'm not going to come around and do this for everyone, but do the same with your teacup. And why are we rinsing it? We're rinsing it so that we clear out the stale energy and any, of course, physical dust that might have accumulated. But already I can feel sort of the slowing down process. I'm taking time to really enjoy all these little steps. And even the sound of the water is so important to the tea ceremony. So that would be rinsing, and now I've also warmed my teapot. So then I'm gonna take my tea. And again, these are rose blossoms. I'll pass them around. You can just sort of you're welcome to take one. You can look at them. And I'm gonna bless my tea. So you could literally do this with a tea bag. It doesn't have to be as elaborate as this. But I'm going to bring the tea up to my heart and I'm going to close my eyes and maybe I'll place a hand on top as if I'm just sending some energy into it. And I'm gonna smile because the tea knows I'm smiling. And I'm just gonna send the intention that this tea is going to be full of vibrancy and healing. And then I'm gonna just pour my tea into my pot. You can even, this is another technique, you can take your hands over your tea. You can do this actually over food as well, and you can just bless whatever you're eating or drinking. You're infusing whatever's in front of you with these superpowers, this intention of infusing, just like tea, vitality and even more healing properties into whatever it is that's in front of you. And I'm going to express gratitude for the tea. It came from somewhere. I express gratitude to the sun, the soil, the people, all the people that brought this tea here for us. And then I'm going to make the tea. And just pour some hot water over the tea. I don't know what the temperature is, Lisa. And that is actually important, you're right. I'm a novice, so. But I do know, because I tried this tea at home, brewing this for 3 to 5 minutes brings a beautiful sort of rose color to the tea. We're not going to brew it for that long. But we are going to do 3 cups of this tea. So the 3 cups, 1 cup, the first cup is going to be for your body. The second cup is going to be for your mind. And the third cup is going to be for your spirit, those are the 3 treasures in Qigong. So when we practice Qigong, which is really a lifestyle, we are honoring that our body, mind, and spirit are one. And we're going to let this tea kind of anchor us into that. So I would let it brew for longer, but I would pour my first cup. It's really going to be so light, and it actually has a very light color to it. Lisa, would you go around and pour this for people? That would be wonderful. And again, it's more what we've put into the tea with an intention.
Bring it to the camera for a moment. It's really beautiful.
Nice.
Thank you. Okay.
And when you get your teacup, I just invite you to hold it. And even if you have another teacup, temporarily you can hold your other teacup. And you're going to feel the warmth of the tea. And these are little. You can actually also use a bowl. So some people would drink their tea out of something as big as this. And it just feels so comforting to hold this. And you hold it at the level of your heart. So these tiny little teacups, they're so adorable. And I'm just going to think about this first cup being for my body. So I'm going to smell it. Ooh, it's lovely. I'm going to look at the color. And I'm going to set the intention that this tea will nourish my body. I'm going to ask the tea to aid in bringing vibrancy and health to my body. And I'm going to give gratitude for the anti-inflammatory properties of this tea. And then I'm going to invite you to sip the tea and to feel it reach down to your organs. So let's take a sip. A little sip. Thank you so much. And as you sip the tea and you maybe close your eyes and you picture the tea sort of swirling down into your organs and your blood and your bones through your lymphatic system, it's clearing out the stale energy. And you're asking sort of the spirit of the tea to merge with your spirit. And you're inviting the tea now to go to a part of your body that needs healing. So if you want to take another sip and you're thinking about one particular part of your body, send the tea down to that part. We're just feeling how the tea communes with our body. So that would be the first cup of tea. Just for time's sake, we're not gonna go around and fill tea up again. We're gonna imagine now we have this whole cup and we're going to drink a second cup. Unless anyone wants a second cup, put up your hand. So the second cup is gonna be for your mind. And I really like this part of the meditation. I'm holding the tea. I've poured myself a new cup, so I will pour myself one just for demonstration purposes. And hear the sound of the water pouring in. I bring the tea up. I hold it. I feel its warmth again. I smell it. I look at the fragrance and the colors of the rose petals. And I set the intention, if this is for my mind, that I'm going to still my mind, that this tea is going to help me empty my mind, to clear my mind of all different distractions and clutter and the tendency to overthink. So I'm going to drink the tea with that intention. I'm going to breathe in. And I'm going to allow the tea to soften my mind. And I'm going to smile. As Thich Nhat Hanh would say, I'm drinking tea and I know that I'm drinking tea. That's it. I'm aware that I'm drinking tea. And I'm going to allow the tea to really be an anchor for my presence here this evening. And I'm going to take another sip, and every sip will allow my mind to soften even more. Will allow my mind to empty and clear and allow me to forgive myself. And I might even take a nice, slow sigh of letting go. So the second cup is for your mind. It just allows you to empty and be more present. The third cup, or a third cup of tea, each time it gets a little bit darker. And this is for my spirit, so for your spirit. So that's what you feel and sense, it's not what you see. So the spirit of the tea is going to merge with your spirit. And let's bless the tea. So hold that little teacup or whatever you have left. Let's bless it with our highest self, with our highest intention. And I'm going to trust that as I drink this third cup of tea, that my mind, my body, and my spirit become one. And on this third cup of tea, I'm really going to taste the tea on the tip of my tongue. That's where you first taste it. It's like almost you can actually get a little tipsy from drinking tea, but there's no alcohol in it. Get a little, a little tipsy from the tea ceremony. You really can. I think because you're so present and it becomes this sort of bowl of alchemy. So the first sip is for the tip. Second sip is for the middle of your tongue. And the last sip is for the back of your mouth. And then I'm going to place my cup down. I'm going to place a hand on my heart and a hand on my solar plexus, and I'm going to continue to allow the tea spirit to nourish my body and my mind. And I'm just going to give gratitude to how this tea ceremony allowed me to feel 100% anchored in my own healing and the preciousness of this moment that we've all shared together. Let's place both hands on our heart and let's do 3 audible sighs of letting go. Inhaling through the nose. Exhaling through an open mouth. All the way down to your feet into the earth below. In. And out. Last one. Thank you all so much for enjoying that with me. That's it. Any questions, please ask me after David's expert presentation. I'll read this up here.
Thank you, David. That was such an absolute blessing. Oh goodness, I really needed that today, and I'm sure many of us did. Thank you. And David is our acupuncturist, and he's here to talk about some herbal remedies. Let me pull up his PowerPoint.
My name is David. I'm the acupuncturist here. I see a few faces that have seen me, and maybe some of you have seen me at the other talks. I liked hearing this talk about, coffee is for, we're speeding up with coffee, and tea is about slowing things down. It's nice to hear, another way of doing things. I feel like everyone is on this current train of speeding everything up as fast as you can right now. And I think all of us in this department are really looking to, we know it's really helpful to slow things down. Even these kind of talks, just even being present for something where you have to go and show up and see faces and hear something new, make time for it. It's important. So thank you for coming. I'm an acupuncturist here. I treat a lot of side effects. So I'm going to talk about something a little different than the normal tea you might drink. Has anyone here ever taken herbal medicine?
Like what?
Jack has. Dorothy's husband, Arlene, maybe Sarah, anyone?
Like
No?
what?
What is it?
Right, exactly, that's a really good question. What does it mean, herbal medicine? Okay, so it's a really wide term, what's herbal medicine? The textbook term that's described up here is, all this use of plants to heal people by traditional peoples. Okay, so some of that has filtered down to us. We saw some of those already, like ginseng and ginger. Probably the one you're most familiar with really is ginger tea. We drink it for nausea. It's great, it warms up the gut.
Turmeric.
Exactly. Turmeric you can make into a tea. Some people will make it into a juice, but it's definitely herbal medicine either way. And so, a lot of these, come from other cultures, a lot from Asia, but there is a huge tradition of Native Americans using herbal herbs to treat people, to treat wounds, to help different conditions. Also making herbs into salves. One of my favorite things, I just got too much sun on Monday, and I went home and I immediately started putting aloe on my face.
Yeah.
So it's not on this card, but a lot of these, why do we use this plant for that or that plant for this, right? So aloe grows it's really these plants, we're using their immune system to treat our immune system, to treat ourself. So aloe lives, in like a desert climate. The sun is just beating down on it somewhere, right? All day long, but still it thrives. So it makes this substance inside of it, which is really moisturizing, which keeps moisture. And it is, there are chemical components in those little sprig leaves, and you can just go direct. You don't have to buy, you can use an aloe plant, which is supposedly the best way, rather than buying one that's been industrial produced and has have like a preservative in it. People swear by the leaf. You just put it on your skin, and it really is amazing for sunburn. I don't know if you've ever put it directly on there, but it's remarkable. More than any of those other products, just straight up aloe. So a lot of these plants that we use to take as medicine there's some plants that are great for the lungs, astragalus. A lot of plants will grow at higher elevation, so there's not as much oxygen-rich air. So they're very good at, thriving in those situations. So they have chemical components that help them to do that. So we take those herbs and they help the lungs. Let's see, so, one thing is like root vegetables. That's how the plant stores a lot underneath, survive a long winter, and it comes up again and pushes up. So we can use that part of the plant, right? Because it's very nourishing, right? Beets, these roots underground where the plant is storing all this energy. In the same way, seeds, a lot of seeds that you take, all the grains that we're eating, that's the plant putting all its energy into this little seed to come up the next year. So those seeds are very power-packed, all the grains. Okay, so herbal medicine there's all these different methods around the world of taking combination of herbs and single herbs, which is probably people are most familiar with, is just taking one herb for this. But as I'm an acupuncturist, maybe we could go to the next slide. Well, actually, sorry, that was good. This talks about how much of the world is actually using herbal medicine. India, all the Asian countries, a lot of Africa, a lot of Brazil actually. There's a lot of doctors that are actively treating people all day long with herbs. And this is a huge percentage of the population. And it may seem from our modern perspective like, hey, we've got it all figured out. And in many ways, Western medicine is phenomenal. But these people are really good at curing people. I think we all know someone's grandmother from another culture who will recommend something to you from their culture that they use. Oh, my grandma said do this, right? Oh, my grandma said do that. Yeah, it's just old herbal cultures are amazing. So I'm an acupuncturist, so we use this Chinese method of using herbs. And we can go to the next slide. Okay. So I'm a little out of order. Okay. So aspirin, this is some ideas of like, a lot of pharmaceuticals do come originally from herbal medicine. So they've made like an industrial version of this. Aspirin is was the really beginning of a lot of pharmacology. Aspirin comes from the willow tree, the bark of the willow tree that you see, the willow tree. There's a lot of different varieties of a willow tree. They all produce a little bit different version of what becomes aspirin when, a lab, synthesizes it. So long before aspirin was available, people were boiling willow bark to treat pain. And, with the rise of science and lab science, eventually this one gentleman figured out how to crystallize the main ingredient in aspirin and started bare aspirin back in the 1800s. And it became massive, was selling it to the whole world. But a lot of people were using it already just as willow bark, which you could just go grab and boil and you didn't have to buy someone else's product, so you're thinking, okay. That started off a huge boom, pharmacies and taking one substance and making it as very strong and pure and powerful, okay. This is another thing, William Schelling, he was a doctor, a Western medical doctor in the US, and was treating somebody for swelling, like edema, because the heart isn't pumping enough. And that they get all this swelling in the lower part of the body. It was called dropsy back then, no longer called that. And someone of this gentleman's family, he couldn't help this guy, so someone in the family said, oh, we have this old recipe that they got from some traveler, using herbs to treat this heart condition. And so they made it, and they gave it to the guy, and he got better pretty soon. And so this doctor said, well, let me look into this. So he took all the different, they had like a handful of herbs, and one of them was this flower called foxglove. It's very beautiful. It's these drooping blue flowers, if you've ever seen it. People still grow it. And he was able to figure out that that was the one that was really doing the difference, and he was synthesizing this one substance out of it, and he said this is the one that's really doing the workhorse of it, and he made it into a medication. It's still used. It's called digitalis. If you don't get it just right, it is poisonous. It's very poisonous. Okay.
Don't try that at home.
Yeah. Don't brew that one on your own. Okay. So it's a little history. I won't go too far into it because you guys will be sleeping, but the ancient Egyptians were really into healing people with magic. So they had like temples, and they were saying prayers, and it's what they called, they were using faith and different incantations. And then they heard China in 2700 BC, that's a long time ago, they started to figure out that you could use herbs in this real systematic way, and the government was helping doctors. It's a really systematized way of using that as a new medicine. In the way that, we have our new medicine, back then it was a completely novel way of thinking about something, because it wasn't like, oh, maybe this spirit is hurting you and this and that, they were really tying recovery to the natural world and cause and effect, rather than something so mysterious. And they were doing really well with it. Egypt adopted it, and there are even in different tombs, they have formulas, different temples, they have formulas written on the wall in hieroglyphs that they got from the Chinese. Okay. So China still uses their herbal medicine. It's very refined. So if you've never heard of this, it's called traditional Chinese medicine. It's using a lot of herbs that you've never seen before, but they make formulas, mixtures of them. They're gentle. If diagnosed correctly, there's very little side effects. And when, especially someone who's older, they take amazing care of their older people in China. If someone's older and they have a surgery coming up, they will start to do acupuncture, but also a lot of herbal medicine to stimulate the blood, to clean the organs, so when they do the surgery, they have a great result. It's really amazing what you see, the, government instituted, we could all say positive, some people say negative things about China, oh, it's this or that, but this is really happening. It's really amazing how great care they take of their older people there. And they do a lot of traditional Chinese medicine. Okay, we can go to the next one. Okay. Why is an acupuncturist talking about herbs? Acupuncture is part of Chinese medicine. So most acupuncturists at their school, they get some training in doing herbs. Some of the most amazing formulas that we use the most have this combination of 8 herbs. It's called Free and Easy Wanderer. So if someone is really stressed out, problems with their cycle, low energy, waking up between 1 and 3 a.m., sighing a lot, you see them when they come into the clinic and they're like, oh, I'm sorry, I'm late. They're tired, they're always leaning on something, and we already start doing the diagnosis. And then you hear what's going on in their life. They're frustrated with real life stuff. Stress can cause this. Bad diet can cause it. Too much alcohol could cause it. It's one of the diagnoses that we see the most in the Northeast because we're all very rushed. And there was an herbal formula for it. It's amazing. They take it for like 2 months. And they're like, I don't know if this is really working. It's something new. I'm like, well, did you take it on time? I'm like, I didn't. Like, all right. So compliance is always an issue. It's not like you don't take it like a supplement. You have to take it on time. It's very gentle. And if they take it, then they come back in and they're like, I had a week of great sleep. I haven't had that in years, they even say. So and then they start to get the other benefits. The cycle will even out. Some peace of mind comes over. It's really amazing when you see it. We can do it with acupuncture too. You can do it with Qigong. Qigong really helps that condition, actually. I've had some people come in and get better in one treatment, and I'm like, by any chance, do you do yoga or Qigong? They're like, yeah, I do Qigong twice a week. And I'm like, okay. It's the same theory. Okay, so where are we here? After thorough diagnosis, okay. So this is what I was talking about. Herbal medicine is called traditional Chinese medicine, and it uses combination of herbs to treat issues. So there's like these 350 combinations. After thorough diagnosis, a client will be prescribed the formula and will take it anywhere from a week to a month. And they are brewed in a pot on the stove with like all these crazy different herbs. So if you haven't been around it, it may sound like something wild, but there's all these people everywhere, even in Fairfield, that are brewing some of these herbs and taking them. Or they will, they have modern versions that are made into a little pill that you can take, with warm water. But it's a really fun, interesting therapy. It really works. Okay, you can go to the next slide. So. Yeah. People say, oh, that doesn't work. So the great part about, I think, acupuncture and Chinese medicine is we don't diagnose, oh, you have this issue, then you take this. That's called looking at the symptoms, right? Treating the disease. We treat the person. So everybody is different. Someone could have 6 people all with a headache, but actually they might all receive a different treatment because the body is very complex. What caused their system, their issue is very complex, right? So 6 people taking a medication that you get at the pharmacy might not all work for them, right? Because they're very different. So that is one of the beauties of herbal medicine. It's really tailored to a certain type of person. What is going on? So we're always asking and diagnosing what kind of symptoms you have. Do you have reflux? No. But only when you eat what? Oh, okay. And then what is the sleep really like? Can you fall asleep? Can you not fall asleep? So there really is this back and forth and talking. And then you start to understand which organ needs to be improved or clean. And so you ask more questions and you go back and forth. And there is wonderful books that we use that, some of these formulas were made in the year 1200 and they still do exactly what they said they would do in that book that was written in the year 1200. Mm-hmm. Like that formula I told you, Free, Easy, Wanderer Plus, was written in, I think, the year 1500. Okay, next slide. Yes. So, a lot of acupuncture, Qigong, herbal medicine is all about keeping the body in balance. So more is not necessarily better. The example I use, if someone needs a vitamin, we say, oh, the vitamin C is low. Okay, it's good to bring it up, of course, but a lot of places in the body, if you supplement something too strong, it lowers receptor sites. So then, how many people have taken a vitamin and a little later been like, it was working, and now I'm not sure it's making a difference, right? I hear this from a lot of my clients, and they sort of stop taking it. It's another thing in the cabinet, you know? Got like all these old supplements you were taking collected in there, all gang of them. And yeah, so if we flood the body with something, the effectiveness of it can really be reduced. So it's really important in Asian medicine to get the right amount, you know, to keep the body in balance. So ginger tea is great. It's for nausea. It's very warming. If this is all, you know, bunched up from stress or chemicals that the body is trying to process, like in chemo, then, you know, we warm it up a little, you can wake the stomach up and help nausea, right? But if someone already has reflux, ginger is very warming, so you're going to actually warm it more, and you can make their reflux a lot worse with ginger. So it's really not, there's no one prescription for all. That's one of the phrases that we talk about all the time in Chinese medicine. You know, you really got to look at what's right for that person. And so we're always talking to them about, what did you do for the last week? Anything new? What's going on in your life? Any big stressors? How's the job? How's the family? So it really allows me to I always talking to my clients, I'm putting needles in them. So I kind of distract them a little bit. I'm like, so how is such and such? But then I also get a complete portrait of them. You know, I want to know what's going on, because I can treat them a lot better if I really know what is really happening. You know, and it's great. And you get to connect with your clients too, you know. All right, and sorry guys, almost done. Okay, curcumin.
That's how you say it.
I might have that wrong.
I don't know, I would say curcumin.
Curcumin? Okay, I have heard that actually. I think you're right. And yeah, so that's from turmeric. It's really something that people juice, something that people brew. It comes mostly from India, from the Ayurvedic diet. And they have a lot of things that are in the Ayurvedic diet that are great. So there, the Ayurvedic eating is there's not much meat. It's a lot of grains and a lot of spices, rich medicinal spices, fennel, cumin, turmeric, ginger. And these are very rich, intense foods that make really good digestion, really stimulate digestion. So it's interesting to look at the Ayurvedic spices. A little different from the Chinese world, but really medicinal foods. And I think we've all had an Indian curry. As long as it's not too oily, it's really wonderful to taste, and it's like an explosion of flavors, right? So Ayurvedic diet is something to always look into. It's very interesting. And you mentioned khichdi. That is one of the staples of the Ayurvedic diet. Uses lentils and rice and turmeric and some other things to really give the body something easy to digest that's also stimulating. Okay, I think I covered that. All right, so this was similar to what Lisa brought up. These are some stuff that people take for different things. Food poisoning. Something that you ate at a restaurant, which is absolutely horrible. You can't leave the house, kind of a thing. Or a couple drops of, if you get the brand that you can take orally, a couple drops of oregano oil diluted in olive oil is amazing. It kills. Well, it's really strong. You need to really dilute it. You'll see a pure oregano oil is not like the leaf of oregano oil. It is absolutely intense in many, many ways. You kind of want to just quickly get it down. But it's a great antibacterial. The plant uses it. It's part of the plant's immune system to keep out funguses, to keep out bacteria. It's growing, really close to the ground, oregano. So it can get attacked, and it makes this oil to protect itself. And so you can take that. It's amazing. I mean, I've had really bad stomach bug, and I took a couple drops of that mixed with olive oil. It was just done right away.
So don't take it. I know I made a mistake and it burns.
You went straight
Yeah.
without diluting it. Ooh, it's rough.
Then I put it aside because I was like, well,
Yeah.
aren't you supposed to take that only when you're sick? You don't
Yeah.
take that every day.
No, it kills gut bacteria. So, you take probiotics to help the gut
Yeah.
bacteria, oregano oil, if you're taking it to do something, you know, you need a reason to take it. Some people are like, oh, it's just good to just take it without really knowing that it does kill gut bacteria. So
Is it a natural?
some people are like, well, I have candida or I have this, so I'm trying to balance it out. Just make sure they're taking probiotics too. Lisa may have another view on this.
We had another question from online. Turmeric can affect blood clotting? Question mark?
I think it does actually reduce blood clotting, is that correct? Very good question,
Important for patients
very
to know.
specific question. Try to weasel out of that and give it to Lisa.
I don't know it off the top of my head.
There is a lot of things that reduce or increase clotting factors, you know,
Yeah.
food. Yes,
Every day I have to take low dosage, 81 milligrams, 81 for the bare aspirin. I take that every day. But on my own, I was taking 1,000 turmeric for inflammation, now I'm down to 450. So I want to say I don't believe that, because the doctor would have said something to me. I see all the doctors here. And
well, it
it's not-
sounds like the same effect. I mean, aspirin can be actually prevent clotting as well, right?
Yeah, that's why I'm
Reduces-
taking it.
So it sounds like the same effect could be happening. I think they were suggesting it reduces clotting, or affect clotting, they said.
It's
We'll get back on that, but
Alright.
it says blood thinning.
blood thinning.
Blood thinning versus
Yeah, so
clotting.
blood thinning is similar than to the effect with aspirin.
Alright.
So, yeah, so synergist, those two probably add up, you know.
So
But
when I-
there's a lot of things that I mentioned, you know, that you don't want to take too much of because the body can, actually turmeric is one of those ones for it to be effective, people need to take over long term. You know, they're like, well, if I want to, you know, lower inflammation with it, you don't just take it for a week, you know. But turmeric, I believe people will take for, you know, months.
Yeah.
You know. More in the food grade medicine rather than straight up medicine.
Thank you.
So just want to give you guys an idea about what's out there, you know, with herbal medicine. A lot of herbs have hormones in them. So, you know, people who are clients at the center here, we don't give those kind of herbs because it interferes with the treatment. So, but it's a wonderful therapy to know about, and also, you know, there are some remedies that are great for digestion. Just to know that there's, you know, other ways to treat the gut. Thank you.
Beautiful. So we have 2 minutes until 6 o'clock. This time absolutely, it flew by, but what a beautiful collection of presentations. I feel like I'm walking away so much more informed and aware of things. So thank you all for sharing your wisdom, your expertise, your knowledge. It's such a blessing of an evening. Are there any questions before we depart?
Not too many.
All right. Yes.
Like, if you are going to follow this, would it be good to be with an ND or, you know, a nutrition person that, otherwise you're not gonna just go buying these oils and.
Yeah, I would say always check with your doctor
Yeah.
to make sure everything's
But not a
right.
doctor, like an ND, because the other doctors don't.
You know, a
Yeah,
lot of naturopaths, they use herbal medicine, acupuncturists use herbal medicine. In the state of Connecticut, naturopaths and acupuncturists can give herbal formulas.
Yeah.
But who else does it? I think it really would just be in those two realms, but naturopaths do. I'm sorry?
Functional medicine doctor.
Some of them may do that, absolutely, some of them may not, but definitely naturopaths often prescribe Chinese medicine as a form.
Yeah.
and there are specific Chinese medicine practitioners. It's not licensed in the state of Connecticut. There is a national board certification, so we don't recognize
Yeah.
that here. But there are those around if you wanted to seek out that information. But always, you know, especially if you're receiving cancer care, you want to get the communication on all ends for sure to make sure all your bases are covered.
Absolutely.
All the contraindications, we don't know 100% what everything overlaps with.
Yeah, a lot of herbs are detoxifying, so a lot of doctors will, someone who's going through chemo, that sometimes the family will be like, all right, we're gonna really just do juicing all day long for this person, they wanna help them, they wanna do
Yeah.
something, but actually, that takes a lot of the chemo out of the system. So, sometimes the doctor's like, oh, wait, no.
Yeah,
'Cause then
give
we
it time to work
we
before.
wanna make sure it works, So
Yeah, yes.
a lot of herbal teas are very detoxifying. A lot of, even a really strong green juice, it's contraindicated. Your mind will say like, well, that's healthy, but it is later. But I think that's prevailing wisdom now among doctors.
It just seems like you need some expertise.
Yeah.
It doesn't seem like something you necessarily just want to wade into and,
Diagnosing yourself is very tricky with any of the, a lot of people will just go buy supplements, that's why they're trying to treat the malady rather than looking at the whole picture. So it's good to have someone really do a diagnosis and who has some experience treating people. That you just save money that way, to be honest. Yeah.
and you don't, commercially produced supplements, you don't necessarily know what's in them. So, so I don't know.
Lately, especially, it seems like there's less oversight about purity of what you buy.
Yeah, there's so much of it.
Yeah.
Too many
Companies pop up.
But TCM supplements, you actually need a prescription for those, is that correct?
You don't need a prescription, you need somebody who's licensed to give them to you.
Okay.
So,
You can't
there
just
is
buy those
ones
off
you
the
can go
streets.
online and buy. Those are often not tested for heavy metals, but the couple companies that are, tested for heavy metals, they will only sell those to naturopaths and acupuncturists and Chinese medicine practitioners, which would be a OMD.
Thank you, all super important information. Yeah, and here at Integrative Medicine, we have all of it, so come to us if you guys need some extra support. I know that David, you're open to see patients, and Lisa's also open to see patients who are oncology patients, but to anyone. Our services are open to anyone, so if you guys need some extra support, we're here for you too.
Yeah, all the
Thank you so
services
much.
there.
Yeah.
Massage therapy is open to the public, the
Yeah.
Qigong class is open to the public, okay?
It is, yeah, tomorrow at 1 o'clock,
Great.
right outside.
Yeah.
The Qigong really, really improves people, it takes time and it's amazing, it helps people a lot.
Yeah. Most of our services are free of cost to patients while they're in treatment and 2 years after treatment. There are some services like acupuncture and I think nutrition and some psychotherapy groups that do have a fee associated with them, but while you're in treatment, Qigong, music therapy, yoga, some of the group therapies are also free of cost to you. And everything else is very, very low cost, massage therapy including. So come to us if you guys need help or support.
Nutrition is a no cost as well.
No
That's my
cost as well.
100%. Yeah.
Oh, beautiful,
Yeah.
good to
Good to
know. Yeah, thank you, I wasn't aware of that. And many insurances accept nutrition if you aren't a cancer patient, correct?
Depends on the disease state.
All right,
So that's why Smile
Big
covers it
question.
as first one, yeah.
all right, beautiful, thanks for letting us know. All right, lovely, have a beautiful evening, everyone, thank you so much for joining us.
What about music therapy?
Music therapy, oh, as far as teas, well, I don't have, I have a tea plant here. I know I introduced this at the beginning before we came out. This isn't necessarily music therapy connected. Oh, we had somebody who was joining us.
I just thought you could also mention your
Oh,
services.
music therapy, yeah. Yes. I
That
offer
was nice.
a variety of, thank you. I offer a variety of different music experiences, anything from relaxation, sound baths, to group drumming sessions. I offer individual and group sessions, all free of cost. I do heartbeat recordings. I've done songwriting with people. I've done instrumental lessons. I've got a group ukulele group that meets once a week. Anything, basically, what I typically do, I also have music meditations, but typically I'll meet with somebody and over the phone and we'll talk about what your needs are and what music experience might be best for you. You're certainly welcome to try them all, but music impacts us in very many ways. So I'm here to kind of tune in to what you might benefit best from.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Happy Thursday, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you. And as we're leaving, I'll turn on this plant again. It is this is a tea plant, and I've got it hooked up to this device that senses small electronic signals, and it turns those signals into music. So